Story 1. Personally, I left approaching random girls to the extremely confident men. My approach was simply to talk to girls as if they were the same as boys. Sometimes it would click and end up in dating, other times I made a friend. If I go into every interaction with the pressure of picking up someone to date, I think that very rarely works. Story 2. Plenty of good advice in this thread. Just remember that even after following the best advice, a portion of women will not be interested because they are not looking to meet anyone new or are already in a relationship. No amount of niceness will change that. Do not get upset over it. Story 3. Time and place is the biggest factor. Headphones are a universal symbol of, I don't want to be bothered right now. If I am actively dancing with my friends, yelling in my ear on the dance floor is not appropriate. Wait until I am at the bar or in the smoking area where we can hear each other. If I am walking through a desolate park, I will feel alarmed if a man I do not know approaches me. If I am at work where I have to speak to you and cannot walk away, that is very unfair to me. Generally, if it feels like you are interrupting something important or a task that requires concentration, you should not. Approach me as a person first and a potential date second. Start a conversation. Talk about life and interests. I do not find it flattering when the conversation opens with a comment on my body or asking if I have social media. It is important to add that physical contact has no place in your opener. Do not come up to me at the bar and slide your arm around my waist or tap on my shoulder when I have headphones on. When women talk about men being creeps to them, it is seldom just a man simply asking them out. There is always some inappropriate, invasive, or sexually charged action or comment that accompanies it. Story 4. Creepy means making the interaction sexualized from the start. Be friendly, not flirty, to start. One good rule of thumb is if you would not be comfortable saying the same thing to a man you have never met before, then do not say it to a woman. If things go well with friendly behavior, you can progress from there. Also, as already mentioned, context makes a huge difference. Approach women in social settings where mingling is normal, not at their place of work or on public transportation. Story 5.1. Have no expectations. Do not expect that she will want to talk, share personal information, or go on a date. It is the sense of entitlement that makes someone creepy. 2. Remember, her response does not affect your value as a person. You have value regardless of how she feels about a stranger. You have the potential to be a great partner for someone, but the connection must be mutual. Be curious if you both feel a connection and if she is interested in getting to know someone right now. If she likes you, great. If not, no big deal. 3. Introduce yourself before asking for her name. Say anything to start the conversation. For example, if you see chips in her cart, say, "Oh, I love those chips. I am John," instead of, "I love those chips. What's your name?" Sharing your name first gives her the option to greet you and introduce herself if she wants to chat. You might say, "I thought you were cute and was wondering if I could take you out sometime." If she agrees, you can offer your number so she can contact you later. This approach gives her more control. 4. If she ignores you, remain calm. Say something like, "That's cool. Have a good day," and then leave the area or engage fully with other people. Do not make eye contact or look her way again. Some men do not accept no well, and situations become uncomfortable when it is unclear if they are relaxed or stalking. Story 6. I find that like most humans, women like being greeted with hello. It is usually a good place to start. But honestly, women are just people. Approach them like people. Make small talk. If you are at an event, party, or bar, talk about that. Don't overthink it. Just start a conversation like you would with anybody. If that goes well, ask for her number. If she at any point makes it clear she does not want to talk to you or says no to giving her number, please drop it. Leave her alone. That is generally when things get creepy. Story 7. The problem with this question is that every woman is different, and they are all looking for different things. What has worked for me is polite conversation. Whether you just introduce yourself and ask for her number or notice she likes something you like and are able to start a conversation. What has never worked for me is when a man talks only about how attractive I am, obviously just wanting to get laid, gets really sexual right away, talks about all the girls who are into him, trash talks an ex, or talks about how horrible all women are. I guess you should just approach her and treat her like a human being, not an object you are desperately trying to obtain. Story 8. People have discussed the approach, but I will let you know that what makes a man creepy is usually not the approach but the lack of acceptance of rejection. Do not question her. Do not undermine her. Do not beg or intimidate her. Just leave. That is how you avoid coming across as a creep. Story 9. As a man from Reddit, I would say the best way to approach women here is to not do that. Story 10. Just start a conversation. There is a way to show interest or flirt without being creepy. Do not be sexual right away or stare. Story 11. When giving compliments, focus on things we can control rather than things we cannot. A compliment on my hairstyle, makeup, or the t-shirt I am wearing will always be more welcome than a comment on the size or shape of my body. Story 12. Best advice I can give is to be in the right place. Anywhere a woman has to be, such as a bus stop, waiting room, in line, or doing chores like grocery shopping, leave her alone or quickly read the room. Feel it out by saying something relevant to the current situation, like if she has chips in her cart, say, "Oh, I love those chips." If she is wearing a band t-shirt, say, "Oh, I love that band." Don't start with personal questions like, "Do you live around here?" or anything forward about her looks. If you stop talking for a minute and she doesn't re-engage, chances are she's not interested. Also, when I say the right place, that's tricky too because being in a space like a bar or club is not a universal signal that someone is trying to date. But clubs, meetups, social activities, and similar places at least create a culture where dating is expected. It's not like when we're just trying to go to the post office or something. Story 13. If I do not make eye contact, I am not interested in being approached. Story 14. Before you engage, make sure she has an exit or way out. I would be more receptive to someone approaching me in a grocery aisle than in an elevator. Then say something benign like the weather. Story 15. Start with an elaborate dance that you have curated yourself, as well as a song that shows off your vocal capabilities. Making your outfit stand out with colorful pieces of flowers, twigs, found items, or rubbish will help gain more attention. If another male approaches the female at the same time, you need to ensure your dancing and song are better and more involved, as there may be a dance-off before she makes a selection. Bonus points are always gained by decorating your house with colorful items as well. Story 16. Say hi. Give me a very basic compliment, such as, "Hey, cool shirt," or "Your form when lifting is amazing," or point out something non-intrusive you can start a conversation about, like, "Hey, how do your cats like that food?" Or, "Hey, where did you get that keychain?" After that, enjoy a light conversation. Make sure to avoid asking my mother's maiden name, the street I was born on, or my first pet's name. I will probably think you are cool and not trying to scam me. Be sure to introduce yourself. That is not creepy at all. The worst thing to do is start off by complimenting my looks or my body or going straight to, "Can I get your number?" Not giving me personal space is unacceptable. If I am busy and politely trying to end the conversation, I do not want to be pestered or followed while I am saying no. Story 17. Just have a conversation. There is no need to tell me all the things you want to do to me without knowing anything about me. Haha. Story 18. The comments clearly show that they have no idea how they want to be approached. Stay strong, everyone. Story 19. I'll share my secret online method that worked wonders for me in the past. You have to follow the entire procedure for it to be effective. First, if you notice someone and they are not busy, you can approach them. If they make eye contact with you, say, "Hi, how's it going?" The next part is very important. Listen. Story 20. Put some food in your hand, get low to the ground, and make a pes 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 sound like your life depends on it. Or just walk up and say hello. That works too. Story 21. Honestly, I would be fine with any man coming up to me and introducing himself. As long as you are not undressing me with your eyes and can respect when I say I am not interested, it will not be creepy to me. Story 22. Step 1. Make eye contact. If she reciprocates, proceed. If she avoids your eyes or turns away, stop. Step 2. Smile. Proceed if she smiles back. If not, do not pursue it further. To be safe, you can try this a couple of times to make sure. Step 3. If your signals are reciprocated, walk over and say hi. Start a conversation. There is no one way to do this step that works for everyone. Some people like the direct approach, something like, "Hi, you caught my eye and I would like to get to know you." Others prefer a more casual conversation first. Trust your instincts and avoid comments about her body or overly personal questions, such as, "Do you live around here?" If at any point she starts acting closed off, avoiding eye contact, giving minimal answers, or looking for reasons to leave, take the hint and back off. Otherwise, let the conversation flow and see if you connect. Story 23. The approach is rarely the creepy part, assuming you are approaching women who are not listening to their headphones or otherwise engaged. The creepy part is not understanding a polite or soft no, or even worse, reacting weirdly to it. Practice quickly wrapping up a conversation and departing with a smile and a sense of, "Oh well, I tried," when she says she is busy or has a boyfriend. This will avoid a lot of the creepiness. Story 24. I'm happily married now, but looking back, I don't understand why it was ever a mystery to me. Now that I'm not at all interested, I have no trouble noticing when a woman is attracted to me. I realize now it happened all the time when I was single, but I didn't act on it. Honestly, they will let you know. They're pretty bad at hiding it. Observe carefully. Test the waters. Don't be needy, don't try to impress her, don't be self-conscious. Just be natural, but tread delicately. Put your ego away, but be confident. If being yourself doesn't work, it wasn't meant to be. Getting rejected doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Move on. Don't insist. Loving and appreciating women is a huge plus. They pick up on it. Loving yourself is just as important. Story 25. I just talk to women like I would talk to any other person. If the conversation feels like it is going well and we are enjoying getting to know each other, I might flirt or ask them out. Story 26. I'm not single, but I'll tell you the way that worked for me. The guy first spent a good deal of effort asking about my interests. We are both musicians, so it was a shared interest. That showed that he was interested in me as a person in my own right, regardless of any romantic or sexual interest. Then, when it finally got to the asking me out part of the conversation, he told me that he liked spending time with me and wanted to do more of that. It showed interest in being with me, but without any expectations of specific activities together. No pressure for sex out of the gate. The good stuff eventually happened and we are engaged now, but we got there at a natural pace without forcing it. Story 27. Man here, but the real takeaway is to have some common sense. Be casual, just say hello and start a conversation. If she wants to talk to you, she will. If she doesn't, let it go just like you would with another man. Women are just people too. The bar is pretty low to appear as a decent, respectful guy. It isn't that hard. Story 28. I met my wife on Facebook. I saw her in the People You May Know section, and I had to add her as a friend. There was something about her face. I had an approachable profile picture, and she accepted the friend request. I reacted to and commented on some of her posts, the occasional joke, flirty gif, or something silly. I guess I sparked enough of her curiosity because she messaged me first. Our relationship took off and we were married in less than 2 years. Story 29. This is a great question, mostly because I hope that men approaching women does not die out due to fear of being perceived as creepy. Some great answers here. Proceed with caution in places where she has to be, as others mentioned. Gym, bus, waiting in line, grocery shopping. Never more than friendly small talk to get a quick sense of whether she likes you or not. In social situations like a bar or a meetup, you can be more playful. The basic rule to avoid being creepy is to back off when she is not showing interest. Story 30. Don't bother. About half the women will think something is creepy while the other half will think it's great. Case in point. Giving a woman your number. I read a tweet recently where a man was hosting a singles event and workshop. Half the women said it was a ton of pressure when a man gave her their number because she had to text first. The other half said they loved that because then they could decide not to reach out if they weren't really interested. You can't please everyone. Just be respectful and do your best. The right one will eventually come along. Story 31. Please do not ask if she feels aroused the first time you meet her. Story 32. Context is everything. If you approach someone coldly on the bus, at a bus station, or any public place, it is always going to be creepy. It is best to try in a social environment, such as through a common hobby like a gym class or a running club. Look for previous eye contact before approaching. Be aware that it might be a hit or miss either way, and many women find this creepy regardless of the circumstances. Story 33. Just talk to me like you are talking to another human being, without looking for a future partner in me. It becomes difficult when people enter your life with expectations of a future relationship. Story 34. We are living in an age where women need to start approaching men. Me Too has changed everything. Story 35. My most misread, I am identified as lesbian, was a cute woman telling me she loved my earrings and continuing enthusiastically. I blushed and walked away after a short conversation. My friend who was with me at the store said, "Oh my God, what is your problem?" When we were at my house, I said, "Girl." She was behind the counter. "Haven't you ever worked retail?" Full disclosure, I worked 10 years in retail. She said, "That lady was hitting on you?" I said, "No, wait, no. But no. No. We never know. So, if you are a woman, tell me my ass is fat even if it isn't, and I will likely still be confused because even my straight friends flirt with me, and I am not the person who knows who is serious about me. Story 36. Do not greet me on the street. Do not ask for my number right away. Comment on something like my outfit or the charms on my bag. Story 37. Women generally do not want to be approached by anyone who has to ask this question, which is why you are not getting useful answers. Story 38. To me, it is not the approach that matters as much as if I say no. Do not push me with questions like, "Why not?" Or "Do you have a boyfriend?" Or say, "Oh, come on." Story 39. As someone who has been married for some time, a mistake I see many men make is approaching with the intention of moving on to something physical as soon as possible. It is as if you can see their mental checklist and decision tree in their head. If it works, it is usually because the woman was already intending to engage anyway. The best approach is to go in with the intention of having fun and interesting conversation. Being very attractive and able to communicate well also helps. Story 40. It depends on where you are and the circumstances. Never interrupt someone's workout, whether she is outside jogging or in the gym. It is rude and obnoxious. In most situations, do not ask for her number. Give her yours instead and say you would like to see her again. So please text or call if she decides she would like to see you again too. Do not ask if she lives alone, where she lives, or if she has a boyfriend. No personal questions. Women have to consider their safety, and a man asking for personal information can be frightening. If she says no or anything resembling no, back off and stop immediately. Wish her a nice day and move on. Story 41. Honestly, there is an extremely high chance I would reject most men who approach me regardless because I am not in the mood for any type of relationship. All I really want is that once I say no or not interested, you leave. Do not try to convince me to change my mind. Story 42. If you are attractive, say anything. If you are unattractive, do not bother. Story 43. From the comments, you can clearly see they have no idea themselves how they want to be approached. Hang in there, folks. Story 44. Old school. I saw this handsome man at the supermarket. I was shopping, and he was already in line to pay for his groceries. I wanted to take a piece of paper, write down my name and phone number, give it to him, and say, "Hi, my name is Josephine. If someday you want to have a cup of coffee, I am free." But I had no paper or pen. I was going to go to the stationery section of the store, but I ran out of time. So you can do that. In my case, if I do not get a call or text, it is obvious he is not interested or unavailable. If I get a text, well, you never know. Story 45. There is actually a very simple answer to this question. 1. Put up a photo on Tinder. Leave it up for a day. Now come back and swipe. During that period, literally thousands of women saw you. There's no way around this fact. Those over 1,000 women are about to tell you what women in general think of you. 2. Do you have over 100 matches? Congratulations. You now can say anything you want and no one will call you a creep. Open with a conversation about painful rectal itch. She'll think you are the most interesting man alive. 3. Didn't get 100 matches? Whatever you say will be considered creepy. Ivy League, great job, intelligent, 5 feet 10 inches, funny, full head of hair. None of that matters. All it took was one day of Tinder and you know everything you need to know. Thousands of women didn't lie when they told you none of everything you worked for matters. If you're really lucky, you'll get a date with a woman using men for free meals. Story 46. Things are only creepy when they find you unattractive. Having game is 90% being attractive and 10% having game. Story 47. Those days are over. Feminism has changed the entire world. Men should not approach any women. Let them approach you. These are the new rules. Do not approach women at all. Story 48. Study the old relationship advice videos called Pepe Le Pew. Story 49. Just be kind. Do not act like you are too good for me and then get upset when I do not appreciate that. Story 50. Honestly, just start chatting. Don't come on too strong. The most important part is if she says no, have something polite to say. For example, no worries. Did you see that we are having a supermoon and a blue moon on Monday? Just continue the conversation as though she told you she likes grilled cheese sandwiches. Don't badger her. Move forward as though she is someone who deserves respect. Story 51. I do not know if this is still the case since I have been married for 22 years, but if I felt uncomfortable when a man asked me for my number, I would give them the number to security at the plant where I worked. If a woman is creeped out, she will give a fake number. Story 52. Most women who are interested can tell by the first approach or sentence. Some are interested and some are not. No big deal. Story 53. Do you question yourself in the same way and have to prepare a strategy for meeting a man? Story 54. I love how the top comment is about how to get rejected. Story 55. Keep it simple. We don't know each other. So let's not have a whole meet and greet right now. We should text a little first. Hey, we don't know each other is a great opener to show you're not overly familiar. The best approach I've seen is, hey, we don't know each other, and I'm kind of in a rush and my phone is dead, but I didn't want to leave without seeing if you'd want to take my number and text me for a drink sometime. He put all the control in my hands. I did text him for a drink, and later he admitted his phone was not dead. He said approaching goes better for him when you give the woman control. We dated for months until he moved for work. Story 56. A man approached me while I was walking around a gallery. He said hello and we had a brief chat. Then he asked if I would like his number and handed me a piece of paper with it written on it. I declined because I was seeing someone at the time. It was a pleasant interaction because he was neither pushy nor rude when I said no. Story 57. I was approached in the supermarket on the weekend. It was a man who I had briefly seen at the park a few days earlier. I had my sons in the trolley, and they were being a little naughty. I heard, excuse me, excuse me. I thought, is this person talking to me? I don't work here. I turned around, and he said, hello? Were you at the park the other day? I smiled and said, more than likely. I then proceeded to walk on, as my sons can be a handful sometimes. We both then said at the same time, small world. I thought about that interaction immediately afterward and wondered if he was trying to chat me up. Anyway, it was very sweet, but the timing was poor. I was a little busy and flustered. Maybe he will catch me again at the park or I will see him again. But yes, if a woman is a little busy, you might not get much back from her. Story 58. The best approach I ever had was when I was out with a friend. The man walked over, apologized for interrupting us, said he did not intend to linger or take up too much of our time, but wanted to ask for my number and to meet up at a later, more convenient time. Story 59. I had a guy say, excuse me, I just wanted to say I think you are beautiful. Can I get your number and contact you? I was flattered but told him I am in a relationship. I think this old-school approach is nice when done respectfully with no pressure. If I were looking for a man, I would have given my information. I also like the make small talk and see if they respond approach. It is a good way to gauge their interest. Story 60. Listen to the clues in the conversation and act accordingly. Example. Him. Hi. My name is Billy. Her. Hi. She doesn't give her name. That means she does not want him to know her name. He should bail out. Him. What is your name? Now she either has to give her name, which she did not want, lie to him, or tell him that it is none of his business, which may result in a negative reaction. Story 61. Guys used to hand me their phone numbers a lot. I always liked that. It made me feel like I was a wild animal and they were approaching me with caution and respect. I waited tables for a while and was a barista as well, so I got a lot of business cards or receipts with a number written on them. These were always accompanied by a good tip. I appreciated when they handed off their phone number and left because they didn't hold up the line talking to me. They put the ball completely in my court and didn't make me have to reject them to their face. This happened to me outside of work as well, and once someone even left a note on my car. I didn't mind, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Your mileage may vary with that one. However, if you do this, be prepared for the possibility that she will not call. I know this discussion is titled Single Women of Reddit, but this all happened to me while I was waiting tables and married, so I didn't call any of them. There were a few I would have called if I was single, though. One wrote, "You're cute. Give me a call." On a receipt back when I waited tables. I had spent the whole dinner waiting on him, thinking he was so handsome. He barely looked at me. I hadn't thought he really saw me at all. He was busy talking to his friend the whole time, but I felt really drawn to him. I was surprised to get his message at the end. I definitely would have called if I was single. I was newly married and pregnant, though, so I didn't. I will say I always disliked being approached at the bookstore. I guess it was the prevailing wisdom at the time that you could meet cool girls in bookstores, and so for a period of time, all these awkward men would try to strike up awkward conversation with me in bookstores. Then I guess they would notice my ring. I have been married nearly all my adult life, and the conversation would peter out anyway. I wouldn't have minded if they had some charm or if we struck up a conversation naturally, but it always seemed forced and kind of lame. The best interaction I had in a bookstore was actually with a bookseller. We got to chatting and had real chemistry. I will echo a few things other people have said. If it's anywhere a woman has to be, just leave her alone. I happened to be in a Starbucks on Thanksgiving Day one year, and right in front of me this man was chatting with a young woman. I assumed from his close and intimate tone that they knew each other well, and were there together, but after a few minutes of listening, I realized they had just met in line. He talked at her the whole time, asking all kinds of questions, and she was his captive audience. When they placed their orders and went off to the side to wait for their drinks, she stood a bit away from him. Story 62. Scream how much you love them and chase them to prove it. If she starts running away, she is telling you she likes the chase and wants you to keep going. Good luck, soldiers. Story 63. I'm a man, so listen up, men. Creepy is what they call us when we are not clear about our intentions. If you are upfront about your intentions from the beginning, from the very first sentence, you will avoid being labeled as creepy. You may not succeed, but that is a different story. Story 64. This comment section is so funny. This is the perfect example that women do not have problems finding a partner. They do not even know themselves how they want to be approached because they can just pick anyone they want, mostly. And that is why they keep typing don't. And yes, I am a miserable asshole human being. Story 65. As a fellow human, just treat them like human beings. It is not that hard. It is really not that hard. Story 66. It does not matter what you do. If someone finds you attractive, you can say or do anything. If she finds you attractive, simply do not be unattractive. Story 67. Step 1. Be attractive. Step 2. Have a lot of money. Step 3. Have many friends. Then she will make herself available. Story 68. Just come say hello. I am a nice person. That would work on me. Story 69. After sharing a brief moment or a laugh at the grocery store, library, or elsewhere. Stop by before you leave and hand over your business card or a piece of paper with your phone number and email on it. Say, "It would be nice to see you again. Contact me if you'd like to." Then leave. You have made your offer in a quick, non-creepy way and then exited. She has the chance to ignore your overture or make the next move. Even if you never hear from her, it is not as bad as being rejected to your face. If things go well and you start dating, she has a ready-made memento of your first meeting. Story 70. Leave plenty of escape space. Be very brief, offer your name and phone number, and tell her you would like to meet for a date. If she is interested, she should contact you. Then, give her space. This allows her time to look you up or conduct a background check to decide if she wants to get involved with you. Story 71. From my experience as someone who has no problem talking to strangers, talk and be nice. There is a huge difference between simply talking, cracking jokes, being kind, and trying to have sex. I am not a woman, but I can immediately tell if one of you tries to hit on a friend of mine. And she does too. If you act normal, it's not creepy. If you openly show you just want to have sex, the creep factor rises instantly. Story 72. Honestly, and I am absolutely not speaking for all women, I feel so invisible regularly that I would gladly embrace any sort of casual hello with a smile. I am literally starving for just anything at this point. If I am in an aisle at your store, ask me how my day is. If I am by myself in a line for a roller coaster, as is usually the case, ask me if I have ridden the coaster before. I once had a nice guy strike up a conversation with me about my arm sunblock sleeves, which were nautically decorated. We chatted a bit about boats, and he had recommendations about springs to visit. It was just friendly and lovely chit-chat. Pity the young man was a teenager or younger and really liked talking about water and boats. Had he been of proper age, it would have been divine. Story 73. It is better to use a dating application where you know someone is looking to meet someone. Story 74. If I am at work, do not expect me to be nice to you. If I have headphones on or am clearly busy, do not disturb me. Say hi. Be polite. And do not start flirting immediately. Personally, I am 1,000 times more likely to be interested if you begin interacting with me with the intention of friendship, rather than if you approach with immediate sexual interest. Also, do not be the person who proposes during a first meeting. That is creepy and has happened to me twice. Story 75. Be friendly and avoid making flirty comments in the beginning. Do not ask, "Hey, are you single?" or "Can I get your number?" when approaching someone. I think that is a little creepy. I would probably walk away if I heard that. Perhaps try asking about something like directions to a place, telling some jokes, or giving a compliment. That might work well. Also, be genuinely interested in having a conversation. I do like bad jokes, so some humor would be great. Just be yourself and do not fake your personality. Timing and place really matter. You could do all of those things above, but if it is the wrong time and place, then it will not work. I guess that is the same for men too. Story 76. Do not keep staring at me if I am ignoring you. Respect my personal space by staying within arm's length while speaking. If I ignore you or say no, do not get angry, do not kick anything, and do not follow me around. Say your piece and leave me your phone number if I am open to it. Just basic normal stuff, dude. Story 77. I like the fast walk-up approach from behind with heavy breathing and moist hands. Story 78. Approach me confidently and greet me with a friendly wave. Story 79. I know a perfect strategy. Walk up to women. I am gay, literally. Story 80. Ask me about sports, college football, or Major League Baseball. Story 81. Talk to me. Be willing to converse and be friendly with me. If I give you a sign like saying okay, do not use hints like body language. Just pick up the sign and leave it at that. I would prefer friends first, then lovers. Story 82. Start off trying to be friends. Personally, do not come on too strong. Story 83. For me, the thing is, don't start off complimenting my appearance. I like it when you compliment something about my style, but not something related to aesthetics or my body immediately. When I am open to the conversation and have been talking to you for a little while, then it is alright to give a compliment about beauty, eyes, smile, or whatever. Furthermore, I think it is always alright to try and start a conversation, and if everyone is polite about it, you will know soon enough if there is mutual interest or not. Story 84. Use non-aggressive body language with plenty of space, relax, and do not close in. Then say and do what you like, and watch for nonverbal feedback. Listen for verbal feedback. Ask an open question. If she answers curtly, move on. If she seems friendly and keeps looking at you, proceed. Story 85. Be authentic and let your energy flow. Many of us have been through a lot and can recognize authenticity. That is extremely attractive and very rare nowadays. I would greatly appreciate the universe bringing someone into my life who is kind and authentic. Story 86. It is not so much the approaching, it is knowing when to quit. In general, a simple hello and small talk or compliments are fine as long as it is the right time and place. It becomes creepy when you are clearly being turned down but you remain persistent and pushy. Know when to walk away, and you will not come off as creepy. Story 87. I always dangle a small note tied around the tip of my penis that says, "Not meant to be creepy." Story 88. Run an internet protocol trace so you can learn more about them through Reddit history. Then you go to date prepared and she will appreciate that. Story 89. I honestly wish someone would approach me, whether I am grocery shopping, listening to music with my windows down, or walking my dogs. Story 90. I feel like women will let you know subtly if they want to be approached. There is a way to approach without making it seem like you are approaching. Do it as if they are just another human that you happen to be talking to. Story 91. Develop your social skills, that is, become more sociable and charismatic. How successful are you at starting random conversations with people you do not want to date? If the answer is not at all, it will only be worse with someone you are interested in. It often fails when someone with no social skills tries to interact with someone they find attractive. Low social skills combined with heightened interaction can come off as creepy. Story 92. Say hi, ask your question, and be ready to respond appropriately to any answer. Don't try to force, persuade, or otherwise engage with someone who gives you a no. As long as the setting is appropriate, you are not being creepy if you do that. An appropriate setting is a fixed location both of you want to be at. Do not approach people who are in transition from one place to another. Do not go somewhere you are not interested in being with the intention of meeting someone. Do not try to approach someone who is mentally elsewhere, for example, a person with headphones in. If you are going to approach a coworker, which is generally a bad idea, or someone with whom you have a prior relationship, just a short, sweet ask out for coffee will do. Do not orchestrate a big theatrical confession of feelings. Adult life is neither a romantic comedy nor your high school prom. Do not treat it as such. In one phrase, do not insist upon yourself. If you follow these basic courtesy tips, you are fine. People might respond to you as if you were being creepy for one reason or another, but you have to be ready to just accept that reaction now and then and move on. Most people are not going to react to you that way if you are polite, calm, and ready to keep going when you encounter rejection. Story 93. There is no definitive rule because every person is an individual with their own perspective. Unfortunately, for the most part, you are left to your own devices. One thing is for sure, though, it is easier to list the things not to do. Do not continually stare or repeat the same behavior on other days. Not only will you come off as creepy, but you could also appear cowardly, which is a turn-off for many. Attractive women are very sensitive to these signals that shy men exhibit. They will most likely intuitively know when you are gathering the nerve to approach them, which can also be a turn-off. However, with that being said, to each her own. Story 94. Read her body language and identify how she acts around you versus others. Please do not bother her if she seems creeped out. It is likely she is just not interested. Be direct about how you enjoy being around her and would like to connect through social media or exchange phone numbers. Do it gradually if you know her in real life and observe how she responds to your kindness. Use your judgment. Story 95. Just treat them like people who have their own lives, their own hobbies, and their own hopes and dreams. As you get to know them, you hope their hopes and dreams align with yours. If they do, You can join them to help both of you accomplish your hopes and dreams together. That is what a relationship is, not just what you want and not just what she wants, but together. Story 96. Just don't overthink it. Be casual, make jokes, and do not say anything sexual. Compliment clothing or accessories. Women put way more effort into how they look than we do, and even if they're not into you, they'll appreciate the comment. Keep it short. A girl will decide within about 10 seconds whether or not she's attracted to you, and lingering around will not change that. If she likes you, she'll make eye contact later or approach to start a conversation again. Story 97. It's important to remember that sometimes it's subjective. I'm not saying you should say wildly inappropriate things, but saying, "Hi, what's your name?" to the wrong woman can be perceived as creepy. Some women find different senses of humor charming than others. Sometimes you can find the right woman and say, "I want to pee in your butt," and she finds it funny and cute. Being creepy shouldn't be the concern. Respecting the boundaries she places with you should be the concern, regardless of what you say, no matter how innocent, polite, or non-threatening. If she says, "Fuck off," just leave her alone. Story 98. I see the success rate of approaching a stranger the same way as the success rate of cold calling. It is a numbers game. You may reach someone on a good day at the right time and place. They are ready for a conversation, or get shut down because your approach was unwanted or inconvenient. You likely need a lot of confidence, humor, charisma, and other positive attributes a skilled cold caller has. If you want a cold call, meaning approach a stranger with no context or reason other than to start a conversation, keep in mind it is a numbers game. You need to be immune to the sting of rejection, which admittedly is not something my ego could handle. Personally, I think cold calling may be a waste of time, and many people see it as an invasion, like demanding a person's attention. This can be annoying if I am in the middle of a text conversation or listening to an audiobook on the way somewhere. If I were waiting somewhere, bored out of my mind in a long queue, and someone struck up a conversation with me without seeming desperate or weird, just casual and funny, I would be more inclined to chat. It really comes down to time and place with these things. You could also try a more intentional route, such as joining a dating app or attending speed dating events, where people are seeking connections and approaching strangers is accepted and expected. It is unfortunate, but with women being harmed for saying no to advances, and considering daily news reports and crime statistics, many women see strange men as predators. Story 99. There is no universal answer. Every person is different. Good luck. Story 100. Rule number 1. Do not do it at her workplace. Rule number 2. Do not do it where there is no way to say no and retreat, such as on the train. Rule number 3. You approach her because you find her attractive. The next step is to ask yourself if this woman would find you attractive in return. Rule number 4. Do not mention her looks. She knows she is being approached because you find her attractive. Story 101. Find a common interest and use it as a conversation starter. It is much easier to connect when you have something in common. Story 102. Just say hi. There is no need for a chat-up line. Take a general interest in us, be polite, and give us control of the situation. For example, let us call you. Story 103. I see a list of things not to do. Long explanations about how you should never approach women anywhere or in any situation. Speeches about how any treatment you endure is justified because men murder and rape women, but also that you must never take anything personally. Contradictory advice to just be yourself and be funny and confident. Suggestions that you should read the room to an extent that feels like expecting men to be mind readers. Just like all such threads, what useful guidance do men actually receive? Story 104. Every boyfriend I have had, I met through friends. My best advice is to make friends with people who have social groups and meet potential partners through them. There is an element of trust that you do not get in public. Story 105. Don't be suspicious. Story 106. I always feel you can sense the vibe before even speaking to random women. Tune into that feeling before doing anything. Story 107. They do not know, and it does not matter because they will just lie online. What women go for and what they say are completely different. Story 108. I once had a drunk Australian come up to me at a bar and say, "I really like your voice. You sound so exotic." I'm white bread English with an overly polite Hermione Granger way of speaking. I was so startled by what he said that I was totally enamored. Lead with a compliment, be friendly, and a little bit off the wall. Story 109. I am currently waiting for my friend and colleague to finish getting ready, as we are heading to a conference. She is attractive, in her early 30s and single. Her answer to this question was, "Do not be unattractive." Shocker, right? Story 110. Simply talk. Say hi and initiate a conversation. Be yourself. Conversations flow when you are genuine and not trying to show off. Keep your intentions clean. If a woman says yes, that is nice. If she says no, back off and leave her be. Story 111. Before you do, please learn to read body language and pick up on subtle, nonverbal cues. If a woman keeps turning her body away from you when you are speaking to her, that most likely means she is not interested. If she has headphones in, leave her alone. If she keeps slowly walking in the other direction, looking away like she is trying to go somewhere, these are most likely signs she wants to leave the conversation. It is a turn-off when a man does not read your signals and just keeps talking at you. This is also a sign that this is not someone to get into bed with. That being said, if she is chatting with you, has most or all of her body turned towards you, is smiling or laughing a lot when you speak, and is touching herself, especially her mouth or neck when you're talking, there is a good chance she is interested. So approach respectfully. Be sincere, try to say something witty, and if she expresses disinterest, being in a relationship or unavailability in any other form, please respect that and move on immediately and respectfully. That is how you approach a woman, or anyone really, without coming off as creepy. Story 112. The most attractive thing a man can do is a combination of two things. 1. Be well-dressed, properly groomed, maintain good deportment, and have a positive attitude. 2. Go out of your way to be polite, courteous, and respectful. For example, a former colleague of mine who was around my age and average in appearance came all the way over to my desk. He greeted me, shook my hand, and said, "Nice to meet you." He made the effort to come to me rather than just staying on one side of the office. It made me feel like I mattered and that he carried himself as a gentleman. It also showed that he was mannerly and comfortable to be around, rather than being an arrogant, immature type. That means a lot to me. Story 113. Do not talk to people with the intention of trying to get into their pants, and you will avoid most of the creeper traps. Talk to them like human beings you are interested in learning more about and getting to know. Like any other human being. No one likes feeling like a list of parts. We are all people. Story 114. I'd say make up your mind quickly if you're going to approach a woman. Don't keep staring and hesitating, as that comes off as creepy and sometimes scary, especially at night when we're alone. Don't invade our personal space, but if you make eye contact, smile, and receive a smile back, that is a good sign of interest. We don't bite unless we don't smile back and you continue to act strangely. In that case, all women should be allowed to bite. Story 115. It's not as much about how you approach someone, but how you handle rejection. If a woman does not want to chat with you, simply say, "Okay, I am sorry to have bothered you. Have a wonderful day." Do not respond with insults. Story 116. Friendly and funny. Just be a normal human. Get to know me. Story 117. Don't just come up and make it clear that you're interested in her solely for those reasons. Make sure to talk to her about the things she's passionate about. If you have no idea about the topic that she loves, just make sure to listen to her and be genuinely curious about her stories, opinions, or even just random conversation. Your attention and appreciation are what really matter. For example, I have some hobbies that are perceived to be traditionally men's hobbies by some people, and having a conversation with a guy about any of my interests is always going to be more engaging than any form of direct flirtation, or when a guy dismisses what I want to say by thinking that I might not have the knowledge to talk about it. Though I don't plan to date, the two guys that I genuinely liked romantically, although extremely different, had one similarity. Both of them expressed genuine interest in what I was saying and treated me as a normal human being, not just as a girl they would want to date for some time. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.